Well, there was no question that the undoubted star on Friday night was Bocco's Diamond, 29.03. But Kevin, if I told you that one dog would come out and do 29.07 in tonight's session, you would have guessed maybe the Laddie Da if he came through the bars, or Callaway Kinagare, or, you know, who else, of course? Bombay Pat would probably be the number one name on your lips, but I'm not sure it would have been Big Jim. Balnabola Jim, 29.07. It was a great night's racing. Some unbelievable performances, some, you know, tremendous finishes, some great runs in defeat, but it was Balnabola Jim that took the headlines. This fellow was in absolutely unbelievable form for the last while. This is his 6th win in a row, but I'd say even Brendan Murphy is shaking his head going down home.
Oh yeah, look, I didn't think he'd a sub 340 in his locker. I think that was the part that surprised everyone the most. Like when he got out and got on the bunny so quickly and came away running as well as he did. Like, I know he's a massive dog, as you call him, Big Jim. He's touching 90 pounds, but he's such a fluent mover. Like, he doesn't look...
He's not touching 90. He was 90 tonight,
oh,
plus
he?
one
Okay.
from his 89 tonight.
Okay, so he's at 90 pounds, but he's just a fluent mover. He uses his action is beautiful to watch, and when he got loose on the bunny, like we saw last week, a 29.40 run, and he's gone and lowered that quite substantially there tonight. But like you said, if you said to me coming in tonight we'd have a 29.07, 29.16, 29.20, and the Laddie Da come out through the bars and Bombay Pat, and neither of them would be the two fastest times, yeah, he'd have got big odds on it.
It was put to me at one point tonight by somebody saying, I think the track might be back a little bit tonight. And then bang, Balnabola Jim does the 29.07, Scooby Pacemaker does 29.16, Cheap Sandwiches 29.20. Like, this was a night of big displays, and not necessarily by greyhounds you were expecting it to come from. Let's start at the start. We'll get back to Balnabola Jim in a minute, obviously enough. The opening heat went to the Laddie Da, and if I told you this fellow was going to wing out of traps to a 3.35, you'd say, yeah, he'll do a big run, and he did do a big run, 29.30 at the time. Looked a hell of a good run, 17.03 to the third bend. He's still sort of getting back to fitness, so I suppose that's why he's not doing a bit faster than 29.30. He's absolutely hammering to the third bend though, and I'll tell you one thing, tonight was the real Laddie Da. This was the same dog we saw last year, and all I have to say is, welcome back, my old friend.
Yeah, no, and we saw him this year. I was seeing his rear end going around Toaster, unfortunately. But look, like you said, we'd done the podcast there during the week, and we were talking about him, and I didn't lose an inch of faith in this dog. He's just the model of consistency for the last 18, 24 months. He's just been absolutely brilliant ever since he started off in the unraced, the juvenile below in Tralee. He's just gone from strength to strength to strength. A real competition dog. I know you backed him in last year's Irish Derby. You still go on about how lucky he was to go to the semi-final, but that just goes to show you, semi-final at Irish Derby last year, won the English Derby this year. Like, if you're looking at the odds and you're looking at the likes of a Bocco's Diamond at 2 or 3 to 1, and you're seeing a decent price about this lad, like, he is the ultimate professional. He's been there, done it, worn the t-shirt. You can't go wrong, I don't think, back in the Laddie Da. And tonight he was back to his brilliant best. He came away racing, edged off slightly to give him the angle going into the first bend, whizzed around the first bend, as you said, 17.03 down to the third bend, and look, he's coming home at 29.30. Similar to what we do with Bob, Liam and Shane, actively put this lad away post England to get him ready for this competition. You'd be a fool thinking he's coming in here ready to rock and roll. He's just coming back nicely, and that's a huge step up on the run last week, and I wouldn't be shocked if he lowered that time again next week.
I don't think anyone would be.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if he produced that same start, I'd be expecting it.
Yeah.
No, brilliant performance by the Laddie Da. Extra gain. We were talking about the strong runners last night. Here's another big finisher. He's only beaten 2.5 lengths by the Laddie Da, who, as we've said, took a flyer. So it's a hell of a run by Extra Gain in second spot. And again, John Young is still there with Clonfert Danny. What a star this lady is turning into. She's only beaten 5.5 lengths in 29.30 behind the Laddie Da. It was a big run from her. She wasn't third all the way. Like, she had to get up in the closing yards to pick up Bartlemy Cop, but big run from her. But yeah, herself an Extra Gain fully deserved their place in the second round.
Oh, they did. Like, that extra game was running some race. Like, you know, when the Laddie Da kicked clear, you were expecting him, especially on how we saw him running in Toaster and how strong he was. You know, but Extra Gain, you know, he didn't give any inch, and he was sort of closing him to the eye, appeared anyway, off the last spin and stuff like that. So he ran massively, and like you say, Clonfert Danny, she's ran a remarkable race to qualify, and she's, like we say every year, these stay-in types, you don't really want them in with you, because, you know, you could easily see her putting out a big gun some night, because if there's any trouble, she'll be rattling home. She
has all the hallmarks of Cesaro next year around Mullingar. Like, she
yeah.
knows her way around the place. Just stay on that Heat 9 for a second. We lost two of our first two sort of real big names. Rye Hope Beach is probably not a surprise. He hasn't been flying, hasn't been sort of at his best, shall we say, in recent times. Nocky and Dazzler though missed the kick, and his goose was cooked pretty early.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up well. We were talking about him here last week, and you said it, like, of all the early pacers, if he misses it, he's the most vulnerable. And the minute he was led, and he was trying to get into a position after second bend, he took another nudge. And now look, I don't think he'd have qualified even where he was at the second bend, but that was just put pave to it. But like you said, a brilliant piece on him during the week on Nationwide, and I'm 100% certain we haven't seen the last of Nocky and Dazzler.
Absolutely not. On to Heat 10, and Pat Buckley will be more than glad to have a 1-2 in this contest. Perhaps not in the order he'd expected, or some of others, but maybe he did expect it, because I'll tell you something, this Beano's Podge is definitely going the right way. 29.42. Do you know what I loved? He was edging to go wide down the back straight, and YI Bonnie Lad, who had taken an absolute flyer, started to drift off himself. And Beano's Podge, there was no hesitation. It was just straight back inside, drove up the inside, took it up into third bend. A really fluent mover. He's only September 22. This was only his 8th career start. Hard to tell. Looked like a real campaign, sort of seasoned professional. Yeah,
no, he's very, very professional. Look, single out Dolly, she didn't get away as fluent as she did last week. And like you said, YI Bonnie Lad at 3.33, like absolutely out underneath the bars. And like you said, that Beano's Podge, he's very, very mature for a dog of his age, and he ran that way, and very professional. But like you said, like, Pat wouldn't be throwing him in there to make up numbers. Like, I know he's only had tonight being his 8th start, and you've seen massive SPs like 40-1 beside him last week, obviously against the likes of Bocco's Diamond, but Pat wouldn't be putting him in there if he didn't believe he could go a couple of rounds in the competition. I'm sure we haven't seen the best of him at all yet. By Vulture, he'll stay as well, and look, he's a real nice September puppy going the right direction. Sing along Dolly, they'll be delighted just to qualify. We know what she can do when she gets on the bunny. Didn't happen for her tonight at the boxes, and they know, and she had to dig in to qualify, and she did that. And YI Bonnie Lad just battling away there to keep his name in the hat. Like, we've plenty of early pacers left in the Derby. YI Bonnie Lad can go to the first.
Not as many on the inside though.
No, and he's going to get a run most nights. So
yeah, absolutely. And I really like Beano's Podge. Thought it was a good victory. Sing along Dolly, as you say, she's so strong. She's so versatile. She can do it from the front or from the back. She ran a hell of a race to be in second spot. Carmack King went out there, big name. Just Owen was in a race, and he lost the race. That was it. You know, to get him back to his very best. On to Heat 11, and this was perhaps the finish of the night. Two short heads. Robbie's Galaxy chinning Superfast Gordon, who in turn have just chinned Southwood Stan, who was coming back for more at the line. It was a hell of a race. Robbie's Galaxy, I was always keeping an eye on him, because I knew it was going to come at some point. He grounded out. He got there with each and every stride, and it was only in the very, very last half stride that he got there. Superfast Gordon had moved past Southwood Stan around the bottom two bends. Looked like he had done enough. There was cheers from the crowd. They were premature, I'm afraid. And Southwood Stan, well, I was thinking that the O'Grady clan would be here for the draw. We'll get to that later on. There's no draw this evening, of course. But he ran a hell of a race in third. It was just an unbelievable greyhound race.
Yeah, it was. And we saw what happened to Robbie's Galaxy last week, where he got absolutely wiped at the corner. He avoided that traffic tonight. There was still trouble there, unfortunately, born to perform, getting turned over, but he got around it, and you thought going down the back, like if Superfast Gordon gets through up the inside where he went, and without a trouble, Robbie's Galaxy probably won't pick him up, but he just like you said, he just grounded out. He was always getting there, and we knew how strong he was. How he ran last week was incredible, and he got his due reward tonight. I couldn't believe Southwood Stan out through the bars, raced up really well, was battling into the third bend, seemed to lose the battle, and when them early pacers lose that battle, they often fall out of the back of the screen.
I don't think he's what you'd call a traditional early pacer. I think he's just a versatile performer. I think he's a hard runner that happened to make a good start tonight. We have seen him lead here before, but I think he's just a hard running greyhound.
Yeah, and he's tough, and I'll tell you one thing, he's not afraid of a battle, because like you said, coming back to the line, like he was coming back as hard as any of them, you know, right up to the line, and like you said, it was a short head and a short head between them. You know, there was nothing between the three of them, and Superfast Gordon, we know he's capable of much better. Even the 29.66, he's capable of a lot better. Like this lad, we know can pop out and do a massive run. Just haven't probably seen his best foot forward yet in this Derby, but with Pat,
it's going to get tighter now though.
Yeah, it could, but it wouldn't shock you, like, you know, in a real top race, if he bombed out and done a big run, he's more than capable. Shay's
going to have some sport with Robbie's Galaxy. Like he won tonight like a 600-yard dog, winning over 550. You get me? You know, he got away with it tonight in this sort of company. 17.35 to the third bend. Like, it tells you, like, they weren't flying up front. Just allowed stay in contention. On so to Heat 12, Bombay Pat. Well, we were expecting the whoosh again, and perhaps not the same sort of level of whoosh, but again, a thoroughly professional display. He well, aside from Trap Rise. You know, he gives them that start. Down to Business was exactly that. He was down to business. He popped out. He set a strong gallop in those first 50 strides. And, you know, Bombay Pat had to work hard to get around him on the opening bend. Once doing so, that was that. His class then showed. He really stretched him down to the third bend and went on to win pretty comfortably in 29.41. One or two of the times in around the middle of the night were probably not as fast as you would have expected. Even though he probably didn't show the same sort of whoosh into the opening corner, I still thought he was doing faster than 29.41. But that said, it's all he needs to be doing at this stage. We know how brilliantly fast he is, and I am sure Connections will be more than delighted with Bombay Pat. I know plenty of people that I was talking to were happy with him, and yeah, a fine display. But again, another big run by Down to Business. And back in third, Black Eyed Turbo. She's so strong. She came home like an absolute train after finding early traffic again, and she's still there.
Yeah, I'd say she was 1,000,000 to 1 after the trouble she got at the bend. Like, she got absolutely wiped out of it at the bend. I don't know how she got back up to qualify. An incredible run for Kevin Losty, and they'll have plenty of sport with her. Like, she's only September 22. You talk about ones for Cesar, which is and stuff. I tell you one thing.
Yeah, she's tailor-made.
This bitch has some engine in her now. But back to Bombay Pat, like, he was very sluggish at the start. Sluggisher than most nights. Like, he really, I know it's not a word, but anyway.
I was just going to say, it sounds like something I do on a Friday night. If you can find some sluggish now.
But like, he really was. He sort of came out a little bit sideways, I thought. Now, I haven't watched the replay back loads of times, but
he definitely took a step right, so he might have skewed out a bit. Yeah,
I thought he'd done that, but like, when you consider the laddie da doing a 3:30 whatever, blitzing it and doing a similar sectional to the third bend, it's scary. Like, it's scary what he can do to the third bend when he does things right. But like, when he does step up against Bocco's Diamond, and I know we keep making reference to the likes of Carrick Allo and Tarston Missai, but they're all similar moulded dogs and all wide seeds. Like, they're not going to be separated on the track in 1, 3 and 5. Like, they're going to be...
Connections have 3 or 4 days to think about seedings.
Okay, well, yeah, but I just think that, I think he's as fast as Bocco's Diamond. I really do. I know last week he put the gun to my head and I picked him, and like, I was breathtaking to do a 17.03 the way he came out of the boxes, but he really is going to have to, because if he was just missing it, I'd say something, but he's coming out, I think once or twice now I've seen him come out a little bit sideways, so maybe that's something to watch for. Down to Business, like you said, out through the bars again, running.
He's just a well-named dog, isn't he?
Yeah, he's running so well.
He just runs so well, yeah.
Yeah, and they're getting great sport out of him, but like I said, Black Eye Turbo, like, apart from Bombay Pat, I was really drawn to her now. She's only a young bitch, like I said, September 22, and I think Kevin's going to have an awful lot of fun with her. If she stays 6 bends, she could be anything. Yeah,
she ran a hell of a race. On to Heat 13, and it is Big Jim, racing from Trap 6. Callaway Kinnegar, we'll start with him. He was a warm favourite, although probably a bit of a drifter on the evening. He actually broke well, but turned right, and all of a sudden, bang, momentum's gone. He finds himself at the tail of the field. He actually ran an incredible race. He gets stopped twice, 3 times. You know, I was trying to keep an eye on him in the race and saw the traffic of the first and saw the traffic of the third. But he finds traffic into the back as well. Like, it was remarkable the running he did to actually finish second, albeit he's 9.5 lengths behind Balnabola Jim, who goes round in 29.07, leading Scorchmark 16.96 to the third bend. You told me Balnabola Jim was going to go under 17 seconds. I'd have had you committed.
I know.
Unbelievable run by the winner. Huge run in second, obviously, by Callaway Kinnegar, but his supporters are probably going to get frustrated, very sharpish. And back in third, Mustang Fever. She ran well, but I think her heart was just broken trying to keep up the winner.
Yeah, oh no, definitely. Like, she was trying to keep pace with him into the back straight, but you could just see.
And that, she was sort of cutting her own throat at that stage.
She was, because off the last bend, like, and we know this lady stays, like, no problem, sees out the 550 trip, but she was legless off the last corner. Like, Callaway Kinnegar really shouldn't have got second, but he was able to pick her off, but just purely because she'd nothing left. She'd given her all. But Balnabola Jim, 3:38, like you said, if someone said he was going to break 17 seconds, and even if he was going to break 3:40, I'd have said no chance. Like, and he's doing it. Like, it was an incredible. He's just running so well. Every night you're saying, you know, not that the bubble will burst, but you're sort of saying, like, oh, when he gets in against the better dogs, something will beat him. But like, he's flying. He really. I don't know how many he's had to win in a row now.
Dolores back in the day when she had, like, you know, remember BoyleSports
King.
BoyleSports King, and you know, Razzle Dazzle Billy and them. She used to make a habit of stopping and giving them chicken nuggets.
Okay.
And I'd say they're going to stop now and give this fella a side of beef.
Well, you know, 24 pack of
yeah, 2 Big Macs, 2 quarter pounder with cheese, like big 90 pounder. I'd say. Yeah. I'd say he'd need the 400 quid for a heat winner, because he'd eat right through it.
Oh, he would. But like, all joking aside, like we have to start putting him in the same category as all the top ones. Like he's done it. Like 29.40, like his last 3 runs, 29.72, 29.40, 29.07. Like at some point, like you have to.
Well, now you go back a bit further than that. Now he had 31.98 for 600.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
sensational stuff.
Different trip, but like I didn't think he was as sharp as that for the 550.
No.
On Callaway, Kennegar, like you said, if I'm a supporter of him, I'm happy and I'm disappointed. I'm happy he trapped again. I am. That was at no fault of his own. I think he just, like you said, stepped a little bit right. He's lost his back legs. It was at no fault of his own. He's got trouble, like you said, at the first. He's got trouble at the second. The third bend, I didn't see him get trouble. I thought he just, I thought there was a gap. I thought the 5-inch was actually, or I can't remember what was just in front of him. It wasn't the 5-inch.
Of all the dogs, he was the dog I thought would have shoot through that gap.
But
maybe it was closed really quickly by Drummond. I don't know.
I'm not sure, because I thought 4 was sort of maybe a length off the rail, and now I don't know. Like I said, I didn't watch it back enough times, but I thought he almost eased at the third bend. Now whether or not that's because he's encountered traffic to get to that point and is expecting it to happen again, I thought there was a gap there for him to go through. I thought he just eased that point, and like, if you are going to be coming from off the pace, which it looks like he is, when the gap's open, you've got to go. Like you can't afford to sort of take a step back. So look, that's something just I'd keep an eye on. But like his engine, last week we spoke about how good he was to qualify. He was always sort of going to qualify where he was at the third bend, even at easing at that point. But to get up and get by Mustang Fever to be second, it just goes to show just how strong this dog is. I've no doubt his future.
He's doing sub 29.80.
Yeah.
After
all the trouble.
Any amount of traffic. Yeah.
No, and we talk about dogs like we did last night there about throwing a Charlie's clock from the third bend home. Like he's capable of breaking that 12 seconds that you were talking about. Have no fear of it. But I just would like to see him being a little bit more determined at the third bend. And I, as I said, if I was connected to him, I'd be a lot happier. I don't think what happened to him at the boxes tonight was his fault. The last couple of weeks he's missed a break. That's down to him. But I thought he actually trapped really well tonight, and was just unfortunate that he bumped into the 3-dog loss.
If you have backed him, you're grasping at straws a little bit, but there's no question he's probably going to be better and better company.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a couple of early pacers get away and get loose on him, and he gets a clean run at them, they'll be looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. On to Heat 14, and here Bob was the hot favourite, and I think fluffing his lines is probably a kind way of saying it. He walked out.
I know.
And like he's trying to get into a position into the corner, and then all of a sudden there's a concertina effect, and he's out of the competition. Like he's gone. I don't know how he qualified. Meanwhile, while all this was happening, Bubbly Shadow, as we say, the artist formerly known as Merit's Inclusion, he is razor sharp. He's gone to the corner. He has taken off down the back straight, and he was merciless to the line. He wins in 29.24, easily the best run of his career, and he has some fine performances in his career. Of course, second in the Kirby Memorial, but this was a brilliant run. And it, like the Bubbly Syndicate, you got to say it to them, the Champagne Club, they are lucky owners. I believe they're only half owners with Brendan, but I'll tell you one thing: they have a Derby runner here.
Oh, they do. Look, anything that's breaking 17 to the third, you know you're flying. 16.98. You know, he's done everything right. 3.40, 3 out of the box. He's paced up brilliantly. And like you said, the minute he's entered the back straight, like he hasn't eased a yard. He's absolutely burning it into the third bend. And he's stayed down very strongly. At the time, it was by far and away the best run. Well, a length quicker than the Laddie Da, but we know what the Laddie Da is, and we know how impressive he was early. But to go quicker than the Laddie Da, like, it was a real taking performance. Is she there? Like, again, another.
She's running great, isn't she?
Yeah, lightly raced sort.
Well.
And she's going to be a massive price pretty much every night, you'd imagine, as long as she stays in the Derby. But like you said, she's got a 2.02, a sub 3.40 here last week, 3.36. We know she can start a bit quicker than she even did tonight, and she could be a pain for some others, you know, because she's got that brilliant trapping. Bob, like we said last week, he's always got that fluff in him, and like when John just texted me after the race, like he's 100 to 1 to qualify at the second bend, and even after the trouble he's got at the first bend, I don't know how he stayed on his feet. I genuinely thought he was going to go over in front because he's completely knuckled down, and then just sort of 10 yards into the back straight, they drift out in front of him. The 5-dog, Droopy's Avatar, sort of takes his ground, and I can see Bob's head come up, and I'm like, oh my God, like he's gone. Like
he's beaten 6 lengths to the head. Like he was the guts of 20 back on one point.
Oh no, look, I know. Like, I said it last week. I genuinely think he is better than he was at any point in English Derby. I'm not just saying it, like, and he is.
Well, recent evidence would suggest he is.
Yeah, he's almost nearly too fresh, I'd say. And that's just being honest. I'd say he's nearly too fresh, and I'd say tonight, like, look, it's great when you qualify, and I always say this, and not just about my own. The night that everything goes wrong, just stay in, just however you do it, clutch, scraw, whatever you have to do, and he did that tonight. I hope it's sort of a wake-up call for him, because
I may have used the line already. he'll be better in better company.
Yeah, he is. We know that, but like, you don't want to be giving stars like that away too many times.
We don't want to be sleeping on bubbly shadow though.
No, definitely
this was
not.
a proper
No.
display. Proper display. He really does have terrific early speed. Trapping has sometimes been his issue, but he never has shortage of pace into the bend. And as you saw tonight, when he gets loose, his pace down the back straight is huge. I remember his debut here at Shelburne late last year, and I was so taken by it. He didn't do massive time or anything like that. It was the manner of the success though. You could see that he was just so raw, and it's taken him a while. Even during the Kirby, he looked raw and he was doing silly things and whatnot. But this fellow, I think the penny's dropped.
Yeah, and just to say, just as a general overview on this derby, because I'm sure there's people watching this that probably haven't been newcomers to the game or whatever, like breaking 17 to the third bend, like Bocco's Diamond and the likes of Bombay Pat and Tarston aside.
It happened twice in last year's derby.
Yeah, they're making a bit of a mock of it, you know, like because they're doing these 1660s and 1670s, like in any other derby, like 1698, like we're talking about that for 5 minutes, the run to the third bend. It's just because I don't remember a derby, like we obviously had Susie, we had Pastana, New and Taylor. I never remember a derby with so many outstanding early pace. Like we've Carricaldo, one of the best sprinters in the country for the last 18 months. And if I said to you to name your top 5 dogs to the third bend, there's a chance he mightn't be in it.
Yeah.
And that's scary to think about. Yeah. We never seem to have the early paces. We're always the one coming from behind. So we may stay trying to do that.
Well, this is it. We move on to Heat 15. And speaking of like dogs that surprised me, I'll be honest, I gave Scooby Pacemaker absolutely no chance. I didn't think the seating change would suit. It got him out of boxes. And yes, it was a race where there wasn't a massive amount of early speed. But I'll tell you something, he had to run hard into that corner to get across. And once this fellow was on the bunny, like you see his 28.02 trial there, and we've seen all the pace he's shown in the Kirby Memorial, he was a finalist in that. Like he has loads of pace down the back straight. And I often say he's a dog that doesn't start and probably doesn't stay well enough. And I'll tell you one thing, he had Deadly Choice on his backside at the third bend, and I'm thinking, like, surely Deadly goes and wins from here. But Scooby Pacemaker's doing 29.16, and I'm waiting now. Jennifer's going to catch up with me and give me a slagging, because I actually said it to John before racing about, I just don't think you can win from out there. I'm proven wrong, and in the end, he certainly threw his hat in the Derby ring. Deadly Choice is second, and again a dead heat for third spot, and that sort of caused a bit of complication as regards the draw, but we'll get to that. But Scooby Pacemaker, 3:41 to do 29.16 off a 17.19 is remarkable. Yeah,
well, he's breaking your 12 seconds coming home, so like you said, he's absolutely winged it. He has edged in, he has edged in slightly, probably tightening up Dashing Toro and Arthur Cornflake a bit, but like you said, down the back, Deadly Choice turns in for Deadly Choice's perspective, the dream position, and you are thinking, I'm the same as you. So Jennifer can dig me as well. I thought Deadly Choice would win halfway down the back straight, and off the last bend, it never looked likely. Like Scooby Pacemaker was sticking it out, never looked like relenting. And then when you seen the clock come up, you're almost a little bit disappointed in Deadly Choice.
Is that 17.19 right?
Yeah, 17.19 to the third bend, yeah.
He's doing 11.97 home.
That's what I'm saying. He's breaking.
That's what someone actually did clock Tono Charlie doing today.
Oh no! Well, whoever clocked that, he was quicker than that.
I'd have thought though. But
no, he had to. No, he was a lot quicker than that.
Still remarkable.
Oh no, it is. That's what I'm saying. Like Deadly Choice went across the line, you could be forgiven for being a little bit disappointed that he hasn't picked him up. But then when the 29.16 comes up, you're like, that explains it. But look.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
just happened there. Yeah.
But you were talking last night about the Bold Falcon and Tuono Charlie, as if you want to back something to keep in it, that Deadly Choice, he's the same. Like how are you going to keep him out of 3 every night?
Yeah, there's one way of doing it. You put him in a race with the 2 or 3 we've mentioned.
Yeah, maybe. But he ran some race. But don't lose sight of Scooby Pacemaker. And look, I mentioned it with Pat not putting him in to fill up numbers. Like Jennifer's going for 3 in a row. Yeah. I was talking to John on the wall.
My God, she's going for it.
And I was talking to John Mitchell on the wall below downstairs earlier on. I said it to him, what I said to you last night, that the first year we didn't talk about Born Warrior till possibly even the final, maybe the semi-final. We didn't talk about the Kobe definitely until around the semi-final, really. And I just think that Jennifer has it down to a T, and she's building. And I think there's no fluke about this, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's more to even come from this lad.
There's no fluke about the dual Derby winning trainer getting the dog out of traps and leading all the way. Yeah, I see what you did there, Kevin.
And being more intelligent than you with the seeding, yeah.
Heat 16, it was a 4-dog affair, and as I've written in my report, Cheap Sandwiches read the brief. He knew exactly what he had to do: pop out, get around in front, and just win comfortably and impressively in a fast time, and that's exactly what he did. I just thought this was perfection. It was just, everything was right about it. He popped out, got to the front, charged down the back straight. He's keeping Hotwood at a couple of arms length all the way around, wins in 29-20, move on to the next round. Thank you very much. Give me my draw.
Yeah, and especially after last week, like I know we spoke about the trouble that happened last week, and obviously with Crafty Shivu and the disappointment, but we can't lose sight of Cheap Sandwiches too. Like he
ran a remarkable race himself last
exactly,
week.
and for him to get back up to be second, I had written on the card that he was third even last week. I hadn't realised he got back up for second. But like, if you had him, you really wanted a confidence booster going in, you know, and I don't think he could have wished for anything better. With, unfortunately, Ballymac and our own Hello Diego coming out of a 4-runner race, it was highly unlikely that he was going to encounter first bend trouble. And with a clear run, with all respect to Ballymac, Briar, Castlevy, Ginge and Hotwood, if they all got a clear run, he was going to be probably the fastest in the race, and that's exactly what happened. They all started pretty level. He's shown more early pace. He's gone clear into the bend and one setting off. He was never going to be caught. 29-20, brilliant run. Like you said, Hotwood for Jerry Holding. He's run a real game race in behind. Like
Jerry's going to have 2 in the van next week.
Yeah,
you know, it's not just arriving up with extra gain and hoping he qualifies. Hotwood, and he ran a hard race tonight. Like he's doing 29-48. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. Like he'll win plenty of heats at the Derby, and like you said, Ballymac Briar was an eye catcher last week. I think if he gets into a race where there's not Cheap Sandwiches who's got a breathtaking turn of foot to the corner, like if he got into a race with some reasonably good starters.
He's 2 starts into Derby, he just hasn't hit the lids in the 550-yard boxes yet.
Yeah.
But he actually showed loads of pace into the third bend. He was forced to check his stride because a Hotwood closed the door on him. But yeah, he's a dog, again, I use the term, I wouldn't sleep on him now. I think there's a run in him.
Yeah, and he's only an October puppy, so plenty more to come from.
And that's it. We had a dead heat for third between Arthur Cornflake and Dashing Toro, and obviously it went forward, and one wanted a toss of a coin and one wanted a rerun, and I'm afraid rerun wins out in that situation. So, like, we don't know. We don't know what the story is, but the draw will be made on Tuesday morning, so the rerun is probably going to be scheduled for Tuesday morning, first thing. It's a shame we won't have the draw until Tuesday, but that's one of those things. And in fairness to the connections, you spoke about JT Jett in the UK. He was in a situation where he dead heated for third, and you were firm in your opinion. I want a rerun, and that's it.
Oh yeah, look, and I do get the frustration from people out there, but like, you got to remember the work and effort that's gone into this, and both dogs have finished third, and it's first 3 to qualify. So like, if someone turned around to me and said, which happened to us, we in the first or second round of the Derby, that we were lucky to go on and win. Jet dead heated, he got wiped out of first bend, then he got up to dead heat, and it didn't matter to me what time of the day, when they ran. I was rerunning. As
someone who had backed him anti-post that year, I was mighty delighted that he got through.
Yeah, and I don't know if the legislation is the same, so I don't know if a dog comes out between now and Tuesday if they can both win. I have no idea.
I'm afraid there's a load of those little rules that we're not, like, how are we supposed to know them?
Yeah, exactly. I'm only going on what happened with us. The 2 of us were lucky to go through. Norm McAllister's dog and Jet went through. We didn't have to rerun, so I don't know if that's the same. But all I would say to people that are frustrated we don't have the draw now and want to toss is, you don't understand the work, the effort, and there's one of these a year that goes into these greyhounds.
You don't want to lose out your chance of winning the Derby on a toss of a coin.
I wouldn't do it. I do not blame either sets of connections that said they wanted a rerun, because maybe it's coming from my own background, but I can guarantee you I wouldn't be ringing Paul Hennessy telling him that we tossed a coin on any of his dogs to go in and out of a Derby. So yeah, look, it's unfortunate for both. They both finished third, and it's just what happens.
It's particularly upsetting because one of them is UK trained.
It is,
which makes it just a logistical issue. That's the
problem. Getting back. It does. But on the flip side of it, like, you look at Dashing Toro tonight, Scooby Pacemaker's edged in. He's got trouble at the corner. He's 3-4 lengths behind Arthur Cornflake going down the back. He's run a remarkable race to get up and qualify. I wouldn't be tossing a coin either. I have to be honest. I genuinely wouldn't. So, but look, it'll all pan out. It'll all happen itself, and the draw is set for Tuesday 11:30. So you might just have to wait to talk about it on Talking Dogs for an extra day or two. That's all.
I think it might be 12. Well, it means that we're going to be leaving here on Saturday rather than on Sunday, which is nice.
It's a nice
but that's it. We have seen the Derby winner once again. We've seen 16 heats in the second round of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. We're down now to 1 night of action for the remaining 4 weeks of the Derby. Next week we'll have 8 third round heats. We'll do the draw here at Shelbourne Park on Tuesday morning. So you're going to have to wait, I'm afraid. But for now, that's it. My thanks again to the child, Kevin Hennessy, and to myself. We'll see you next time. Good luck and God bless.